Cam Gigandet. He's the co-star of Trespass. You also know him from Easy A, Twilight, Burlesque, and some other films. Talking about working with Joel Schumacher on the film and his experiences watching himself on screen, too. Enjoy?
Well, my character was fascinating to me. You know, he is he's someone who believes something with every fiber of his being and believes that he is doing the right thing, that he is the savior of Nicole, I guess. And in my mind, that person, not just Jonah, but people like that all over the world, are some of the most dangerous people that you can encounter. And that to me was fascinating, you know, and to think that Jonah has always, from the get-go, he has always thought that he is going to be doing the right thing. And, that fascinates me. So.
Well, yeah, it's important to kind of, because these kinds of characters, they can be played one way and they could be shown as dangerous people, but it's important to find the empathy with them, right? I mean, it's important to know what makes them tick. Yeah,
you know, and he, everything had to be justified when it came to him, and not just overall, but time after time, you know, because the story progresses and changes so often that from the beginning, when we were fortunate enough to be able to rehearse for a few weeks prior to even shooting, we could kind of go through all of that and all of the progressions and changes, and you know, the only constant thing in Jonah's mind was protecting or saving the person he loves. However you want to look at his love. But in his mind, everything he did was still to have that end goal of being the savior. You know, he had always thought that he is going to walk away from this hand in hand with Nicole, and they were just going to be walking down the sunset, and you know, he was going to be the hero.
Yeah.
So, but life happens.
Interesting. Right, exactly. That's interesting, though, that, and this was something I was curious about, that you had rehearsal time. What did that provide? That's rare, isn't it? First of all,
rare, extremely rare. We were so lucky, and to have everyone there to rehearse with us is, just a complete and utter gift. It really was, you know, especially since it is a complex movie and everything. And you know, as we rehearsed, we figured out how complex it is, because not only are things changing all the time, but everything affects something else, and what one person does affects what someone else does 20 pages down the line, and so there was this domino effect that would keep happening, and so, you know, but fortunately enough, we got to work through it all, and work out all the kinks, and, you know, it ended up being this, I don't know, this dance routine as we started shooting, and not only through story, but physically as well. You know, we having 7 people in a room with 4 cameras can be difficult, and so working through that whole situation was quite the challenge. But you know, thankfully we got it out of the way, that on the day of the shooting we can actually focus on, you know, telling the story.
Yeah, and not only does that rehearsal, I would think, let you kind of explore the different beats of the character and the scenes, but it establishes a level of comfort and trust with your co-stars too.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely does. You know, we and to see people like Nicole and Nick, you know, actors of that caliber, to see them exploring and playing around, taking risks, it kind of, you know, it eases you, and, you know, especially the younger actors, you know, they'll kind of step it up and they'll play around once they see that, you know, people like of this caliber are doing the same thing. You know, it releases some of that pressure.
Yeah, and Nicolas Cage especially, he is a crazy inventive actor.
Inventive is a great word. You know, he, even while shooting, he would constantly be trying new things without placing any, there was no need for some great result. You know, there was no judgment placed on whatever he was trying. It was exploration for the sake of exploration, and you just to see that in an actor, especially one who's been doing it as long as Nick has, it's something that any young actor should learn and emulate.
Well, speaking of someone that's been doing it a long time, Joel has been a filmmaker for a long time.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with that level of pro, I mean, what makes this set different? What's the atmosphere like around him?
The atmosphere is, you know, he turns it into such a collaboration and gives the actor, which is so rare in directors, gives the actor freedom to create these characters and to kind of be responsible for telling these character stories, and to be able to have faith in your actor and give them the freedom that they need to kind of create is, I imagine, difficult, but he gives us that control and that freedom, and yet you always know you're in good hands when it comes to Joel. And there are times where I would think in the middle of a take or in between takes, I would think that, oh, I have this great idea, and then in hindsight I would think, wait a second, Joel had so subtly given me this idea. It just took me a take or two to figure out what he was talking about. And so there's this subtlety about him that's so calm, and so you never feel like, oh, I'm going to give you notes, and you never felt like you were getting notes and, you know, you need to do this and this and this from your director. You never felt like that. It was always so subtle to the point where you thought it was your idea, which is, you know,
the best. Yeah, that's the best.
best.
One more question, and then I'll let you go. I'm always curious with actors. You did your work. You kind of lived through it and nurtured that character and that project. When you finally see the finished film for the first time, with this or any other film, is it easy for you to judge how successful you were from your goals with that character?
I mean, that's actually, well, to be honest, I'm still trying to figure out how to watch with a forgiving yet critical eye. I'm still trying to, you know, because every actor I've heard different, so I'm still, you know, finding my, you know, the way I work through that. But what you just said in comparing to what I wanted while I was shooting or before I was shooting to what I had actually gotten is actually a really good way to look at it. What I have always done is I judge what I could have done after I'm seeing the movie. You know, because, I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, and so I would say, oh, well, I should have done that, I should have done that. But at that moment, while I was shooting that, it might not have even crossed my mind, but which is, you know, it doesn't seem very fair to an actor because, you know, every single situation, every single day is going to be different. Whether even if you shot the same scene, the day it's going to end up different than it was before. But
right,
it's just you can't be as, I try not to be as judgmental as I probably should be, but it's a learning process.
I think you did great work in the movie.
Well,
I liked you in the movie a lot. So thank you so much for giving me your time. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.